you will have heard there, I don't know if you heard all of it, but that was General David Petraeus making it clear in his opinion that there are dangers of Israel trying to eliminate, demolish Hamas, who are, of course, deeply entrenched in Gaza in all sorts of places. Do you share that concern, or do you think that this is just something that has to be done regardless?
Well, we absolutely share these concerns. We're quite aware of all the challenges. There's a reason why also we pulled out of Gaza in 2005, giving them freedom and liberty to dictate their own future and to have their own autonomy. But unfortunately, with everything that had happened, especially in the last week, we understand that we cannot have Hamas straight on our borders. This is would be equivalent to have ISIS on our border. And this is something that we cannot accept. The brutality, the crimes against humanity, the war crimes that they've committed in recent weeks, the amount of death and destructions that they had on our towns and our people, put in front of our eyes the reality. And the reality is that Hamas cannot control anymore Gaza. It cannot hold any kind of military facilities. It cannot. We have, unfortunately, and this was forced on us, we have to completely eliminate any kind of force and power and facilities, economically, military, governmentally. It has to be eliminated.
But Sharren, how do you actually do that? Because if I was one of those families or relatives of those families who'd been murdered by Hamas last weekend, I can understand that I may very well want the consequence of that to be that the organization that was responsible for their killing was eliminated. However, that is a very difficult thing to do completely. How do you eliminate every single member of Hamas? What about the next generation of perhaps young people? And I wouldn't include all Palestinians in that, but the next generation of young people who have been radicalized, who do think that Hamas represent them.
Well, to be honest, what they are feeling, it's not that they want the complete elimination of Hamas, but our goal and what those family wants is to be able to return to their homes and live there in secure, knowing that they're safe and sound when their babies are asleep, when their children goes to school. We just want a normal life. And our goal is to return the safety and security to that region that for ever since we have left the Gaza Strip and completely evacuated it from every single living Jew. That's when the real war started. This is when missiles started shooting towards those towns in the south. That's when children grew up in a post-traumatic stress because of alarms almost every single day, running to shelters, being hit, schools and kindergartens. And what happened in the last week, that's a completely break of trust of those citizens and the entire population here in Israel. The only thing that we want is to be able to live here in Israel in a place where we feel safe, when we can raise our children, when we can take them to schools, when there's no alarm. We do not want war. We understand that when there is war, both sides lose. And that's why we do everything in our possibilities to avoid that. But unfortunately, Hamas has forced us to it.
But how can you be safe then? You say that many of these people don't want the elimination of Hamas. But if Hamas are not eliminated, as the IDF and the Israeli government keep telling us they want to happen, if they are not eliminated, how will these people that you keep describing, how will they feel safe?
Well, what I meant was that it's not that what they want is sort of a revenge or to eliminate Hamas, but our goal is to return the safety and the security to the people of Israel. Unfortunately, we cannot return the safety and the security of the people of Israel until we eliminate Hamas. And, if I would have to compare it for people maybe in England to understand, it would be like to eliminate ISIS, to eliminate Daesh that is sitting straight on their borders.
Finally, I wanted to ask you about what the UN have been saying. Hamas's attacks on Israel have been described as war crimes by the UN, but they've also said that Israeli strikes on Gaza amount to collective punishment and are absolutely prohibited under international law and amount to a war crime. So I presume
absolutely not. We have done everything, but everything in our capabilities to warn Palestinian citizens, to create a safe passage, to warn them every place we're going to demolish. Unfortunately, Hamas, the vicious government of Hamas, is holding those Palestinians as human shields. If you look now, they're actually blockading their way in evacuating from the north to the south, meaning they are forcing them to be used as human shields, as human targets. And so, unfortunately, we are dealing with a vicious and cruel regime, a cruel terrorist organization that is holding their citizen captive. And so, it's very difficult, but we are doing everything in our capabilities in order to prevent any kind of civilians damage or loss of life. This is unfortunately not possible all the time, but we are doing everything possible to avoid it.